Slugs, any haymaking questions, man?
Yeah. So I know that you said your father is involved in the medical field, and so are you. So how has this charity come full circle for your family?
Oh, that's actually like the perfect question because my whole family got their start in medicine. The Rosenblatt side, at least, got the start in medicine during the flu pandemic in 1918. My that was when I believe it was my great grandfather uh, and his brother got into medicine for the first time. So that was the start. If you go into my dad's office, he has a letter from his uncle to his father, just detailing all these things about the flu pandemic back in 1918. So if you're gonna like that's sort of his start in medicine. You can imagine he has been very involved in the planning for this, the response to this, the crisis response, whatnot. This is I wouldn't say this is what he lives for because that's a pretty screwed up thing to say, but he's ready for it. I'd like to say that.
The great Archibald Rosenblatt in 1918.
The one and
Well,
only. Hi, I'm Andy Rosenblatt from Massachusetts, and this is my golden hour.
Oh God, what's going on? Where am I going? Dad?
Yes, my son. I am Deuce, the deer god.
I'm so confused. Who am I?
Derek. Your true name is Dercules. Dercules.
Wait, what?
Yes. You are Dercules, the god of the forest. Season 5.
hosted by your favorite podcast host, Big Bochi. You already know the deal, mother. What's up? Drew, what's up, baby?
How we doing, Connie?
Drew!
You can hear me everything?
Yeah, this is Sarah Slugs. One sec. She's the one of the
What's up,
producers
Slugs?
for the
How you doing?
shows.
Thanks for having me.
Dude,
Thanks
you
for
look
coming.
incredible, man. I haven't seen you in so long.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. This pandemic's taking a hit on my hairline, dude. You can tell, huh?
Yeah, bro. I was taking a hit beforehand, man.
Nah. Come on, guy.
Bro, I'm tucking way back myself.
It's just how time works.
Well, is your dad fully bald? I feel like he always had a little bit of hair.
No, he's
right?
got like that half door. Yeah.
Hey, Slugs, do you want to just introduce yourself to Andy real quick?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Sarah Slugs. I'm one of the producers.
What's up?
It's nice to meet you.
You too. So
Real
I got
quick.
to like 11:50. Just
Oh, you're all business, Drew.
I'm all business, dude. Like 11:55, 11:50.
I hear you.
I gotta go to Northeastern.
Well, so quick curveball. Slugs is actually a co-op from Northeastern.
Okay.
And so is Hannah still there?
Yeah, this is her last year.
Damn, so she really got
Oh, and this
shafted
is
in her
happening.
last year.
Yeah, she did.
So can you just give a quick
Sucked me so
synopsis?
much.
We'll just get straight to biz here. Can you just give a quick synopsis of who you are and like what's going on with you right now? And for reference, for anybody that tunes in or listens, Andy and I are childhood friends. We grew up together in Lincoln, and this is my ultimate and absolute guy.
Yeah. All right. So I do medical research at a local hospital. And obviously being in the medical system, you see the stuff coming before like the general public. So when this coronavirus stuff was sort of coming up, my dad, who also works at the hospital, had noticed that there was going to be a huge shortage of these masks, basically protective masks. PPE basically is what they call them.
PPE?
PPE, personal protective equipment. So these masks obviously are so important because they flatten the curve, basically, is what we're talking about. They prevent the spread of the disease. So if you have a patient who's sick, you put a mask on them, covers them. They can't cough on the doctors. The doctors don't get sick. That way, more doctors can attend to more patients, right? It's really that simple. And then on top of that, if we're going to slow down the spread of the disease, we're going to keep our hospitals at lower capacities, right? So we're not running them over capacity. And that would mean our surgeons and doctors are not going to be forced to choose which people to save. So basically, short term, we'd like to provide masks so that these people can stay healthy long term. We're just trying to save lives.
So initially, your dad came home and was like, dude, there's a terrible wave coming, and we do not have the equipment to protect our healthcare
Right.
workers. Correct?
Yeah, so that's where the story begins. Like I got home last Wednesday to sort of prepare for this whole quarantine thing, right? My dad comes home from work, and that's when he sort of told us that. So they, just to sort of contextualize this, he does a lot with the disaster preparedness and the basically just preparedness for preparing the hospital for this coronavirus. So he came home and told us they're probably about, at minimum, as of last Wednesday, 3 to 4 weeks from the peak of coronavirus in Massachusetts. And at the same time, they were about a week or so from running out of PPE. And that was after they changed the PPE guidelines. So the
was
PPE
he freaking
guidelines
out?
before,
Was he just like,
oh, he
oh
was freaking
God.
out. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you know him. He was kind of freaking out. Yeah. So they changed the guidelines. The CDC, Center for Disease Control, changed the guidelines. Initially, they wanted everybody treating somebody. I know you talked about this the other day. They wanted everybody treating a coronavirus patient to be treating them with an N95 mask. That's become completely unrealistic. We just don't have those masks. So the whole idea is that we're making these masks so that doctors and nurses who are not treating coronavirus patients can wear these, right? And then the doctors and nurses that need those N95 masks can wear those when treating the coronavirus patients. So
Yeah.
we're
So
just trying
you noticed
to
there
get
was a
those where they
need.
need to go.
You noticed
Right.
there was a need. We need more masks. So how did you get the charity just booming off rip? Because like people start
Yeah,
up these like GoFundMe's all the time or like Kickstarters, and they just like glaze through a Facebook feed. But were you guys just like,
yeah.
let's just send it?
Well, I mean, it's kind of like we got lucky with there's a million people sitting at home looking at Facebook these days. A bunch of people just sit at home looking at their computers. They don't have work to go to, right? So we contacted Wednesday night after my dad got home, told us about this whole PPE thing, the PPE shortage. I got in contact with a reporter from the Burlington Patch, just had him write something just saying we literally asked for 3 volunteers to sew for us. We woke up the next morning, we had 3,000 people that had volunteered.
Wow.
As far as California, we had people from Canada. So there's clearly national, international interest in efforts like this. But 3,000 people, it's hard to organize 3,000 people, especially when you had initially planned on 3, right? So after we realized this was going to be pretty complicated and not going to be something
What was your reaction as soon as you saw that? Were you like, whoa?
I was like, fuck. It's gonna be a lot of work, dude. Yeah. Anyway. So we get these 3,000 people, and basically what we did was we just sort of broke them down into their region, right? We have a bunch of people from Lincoln, where I'm from, a bunch of people from Burlington, where I work, and all the towns in between, right? So all these people, we had them organize. We basically put one person in charge of each town, so we can coordinate with that one person, and then they'll just coordinate their whole town, which is sort of like the model that people are looking at from, just for as an example, Burlington, Vermont, the UVM Medical Center there. They saw the way we were doing things down here, and they got in contact with us about helping them set something up there, which
Wow.
is only possible if like I'm not solely dealing with 3,000 people, right? You got to sort of break all this stuff down.
And so can you just elaborate on how the charity works and what you guys are actually doing? Because I think right now people know that, okay, people needed masks. So what did you guys actually do?
Okay, so step one, we put out the call for people who knew how to sew, right? The idea actually came from Deaconess, I'm going to say in Evansville, Illinois, the first people to do this. There was a hospital there that noticed the need first. They put out a template on how to build masks and what materials they would like the masks to be built with. So we took that template to a local resident, had them build both an instruction manual and a couple of just test masks for us. And those instruction manuals were doled out to people to just continue building all the masks.
And where did you get the initial material from?
Okay, so the initial material.
Yo, Drew, how am I at asking
the-
questions? Do I do a good job?
You're doing good. You're doing good. You're following up well.
You're my guy,
So,
man. You're my guy.
The initial material, we actually got in contact. I can't remember how, but Joanne Fabrics has been like we wouldn't be able to do this without them.
The
So
plug.
first thing the plug, Joanne, yeah. So Joanne hooked it up. They let us come in when they weren't even open. The CEO is involved. He basically opened the store up for us. Everything was like 50% off the first time we went in, and every time we've gone in since, it's all free. So materials are being provided by Joanne Fabric for one. Levi's has provided a bunch of denim for us, and then Calvin Klein is providing elastic, which is one of the tougher things to find. So very grateful that Calvin Klein is donating that.
You guys got that clout.
Yeah, we got that clout, right?
Got that Calvin Klein clout.
Yeah,
So you guys are grabbing the resources, you're allocating the resources, and then you're sending them to certain sites for volunteers to actually construct the masks?
Yeah, so I think the easy way to think of it is we're operating as the middleman between the people who can sew and the hospitals, right? We're just getting these people materials, and getting those materials, once they're finished, produced into the PPE, we're getting them to the hospitals.
And how are you doing that specifically? You're like contacting couriers to be like, hey, go pick up 150 masks over here and bring it to Mass General?
Right. Yeah, and we like with the travel ban in place, like non-essential travel. We're also in coordination. The Lincoln Police they're gonna like allow us to deliver all this stuff and pick up all the masks and whatnot.
What an operation, dude!
Yeah, yeah.
So how many have you made thus far, or produced?
So I think there's been 1,000 to 1,200 that were made in the first batch, which was at the beginning of this week. But that like really was just the very start of things. I can't remember how much material was used to make all those masks, but I know that we have at least 10 times the material we had then. So hopefully we'll be able to 10 times the capacity, right? So 10 times the masks, that's the hope.
Well, question. So these like homemade masks, are they effective in combating the virus?
Right, that's a good question. So actually, when I'm done with this, I'm headed to Northeastern. We're going to bring them a bunch of different materials, and they actually have like this lady reached out to us. She's one of the world's foremost experts in testing fabric porosity. So we're going to see basically if a doctor coughs, how porous the masks are, like how much materials we're going to get through. Like I know you're talking to that guy yesterday. The doctor yesterday said 95% of particles are stopped by the N95 mask. We want to know what percentage of materials are stopped by our masks.
Dude, what if you guys come up with some like revolutionary model and then you just make a gazillion after this?
You never know.
Slugs, any haymaking questions, man?
Yeah. So I know that you said your father is involved in the medical field, and so are you. So how has this charity come full circle for your family?
Oh, that's actually like the perfect question, because my whole family got their start in medicine. The ROSENBLATT side, at least, got the start in medicine during the flu pandemic in 1918. That was when I believe it was my great grandfather and his brother got into medicine for the first time. So that was the start. If you go into my dad's office, he has a letter from his uncle to his father, just detailing all these things about the flu pandemic back in 1918. So if you're gonna like that's sort of his start in medicine. You can imagine he has been very involved in the planning for this, the response to this, the crisis response, whatnot. This is I wouldn't say this is what he lives for, because that's a pretty screwed up thing to say, but he's ready for it. I'd like to say that.
The great Archibald Rosenblatt in 1918.
The one and only.
Well, dude, there's something I've talked to like maybe 10 doctors in the past week, and there's just something very morbid about doctors being totally fascinated by a time like this, because it's like it's chaos in their industry, and it's like new, and it's like, dude, how do we handle this? How do we come up with a solution for everything that's going on?
Yeah, I think they're just all excited. This is going to expose all the cracks in the the healthcare system. Hopefully, make their job a little easier in the future. I think one of the things between like us and Italy that is pretty scary is Italy actually has more beds per 100,000 people, more hospital beds per 100,000 people than America does. So their hospital system presumably should have been more prepared for handling the influx of patients. Granted, they saw a much steeper rise in coronavirus cases in hospitalizations, but at
And
the
they were
same
more
time,
centrally located though too. They are all in the same spot.
Right. They got it first and all that. So at the same time, the beds, the capacity of beds that we have in America it's not ideal, especially for this.
And so in your experience in volunteering and working at the hospital, did you anticipate the fact that the healthcare system wasn't necessarily prone to take on something like this, or is it just like news to you when all this stuff started popping?
So I do cancer detection device research. So that's like, I'm pretty separate from the actual day-to-day side of the dealing with patients and whatnot. So it wasn't something I saw coming. But that doesn't say much.
But you have a sense, like, I mean, dude, this is all totally new to me. I'm like, damn, I thought we had like the best hospitals in the world, and we do, but why was there no plan for this?
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm
know.
not a policy guy. I'm just like freaking out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I know I don't want to get too political or anything, but I know that I think it was 2 years ago or so, we cut the guy who was head of like the pandemic planning for CDC, which is so important because you saw how like fragmented the response was to this. We have states doing their own thing, countries doing their own thing. We didn't understand that the supply chain from China was going to be broken when they shut down the whole company, or when they shut down the whole country rather. So we didn't know that we weren't going to be getting all these PPE. That it's all produced in China. Most of it's produced in China, right? We didn't know we were not going to be getting that, so we didn't react in time. If we were more coordinated, who knows, right?
Now, how has your operation at the hospital changed given that everyone's like freaking out about germs? Are you like have to show up there in a hazmat suit, especially with cancer patients?
I was told just I can do my work from home, stay at home. So I haven't been to work for about a week and a half now. So I basically, all my work's done on a hard drive, so that's simple enough for me. But yeah, the hospital, I know for a fact the hospital is on lockdown. You can't get in and out without your hospital identification badge. So no visitors or anything for patients and whatnot.
Dude, how about me showing up to? Oh, go ahead, Slugs.
I was gonna say, are your bosses or is your boss just like okay with you doing this charity and just being at home, being like, you know what, I'm gonna spend a lot of time with this?
I think like even if he wanted me to focus on the other stuff, it would make his job harder if I were to focus on the other stuff because more people were gonna get sick, right? If we don't do this, people are gonna get sick. He's gonna have to work harder. He might get sick. So it's just it's kind of it's what has to be done right now, right? The other stuff can wait.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. So when I was at Best Buy yesterday, when I called you, it was literally like the McDonald's drive-through. Slugs, did I tell you about this?
Nuts. I thought you were going through the coronavirus testing thing.
Dude, it was
they had
insane.
the windows up, like show me an ID.
It was literally crazy. I was like, what is going on here, man? Have you seen any crazy stuff yet, Drew? Like out?
No looting yet. I'm waiting for the looting now. We'll see.
Yeah, looting Donalds.
Looting Donalds, dude. That's how you get your money back, right?
Yeah,
probably shouldn't say that, but the police probably watching.
Yeah, honestly. Hey, Slugs, you got anything else in the holster, man?
Yeah. So how do people donate or volunteer?
Yeah, so we have a Facebook page called Masks for Massachusetts. You can go there. There's a bunch of people in there. Please don't ask us personal. Like people are asking, like, "Hey, can I come deliver 2 masks to you guys?" We're coordinating like a giant effort here. Just please let's coordinate the whole effort, right? But if you want to help there, just go there. You'll post your information, right? And I mean your town at least, and we'll coordinate that from there, right? We'll get you in touch with your town coordinator, and you can help from there. Now the whole idea, like, we're not only helping the hospital I work at. Like I said, we're helping. I told you about up in Burlington, Vermont. We're helping a hospital up there. They're Lowell. We've been in touch with them, and a number of other hospitals. Emerson, I know, is involved. So if you're not in Burlington, Massachusetts, if you're not near the hospital that I'm working for, if you're not near Emerson, if you're not in Burlington, Vermont, you can still get one of these done yourself. Just organize as like a community organizer. Get a bunch of people involved. You can get the hospital involved. There's instructions online. We'll have the results of these porosity tests soon, so you can know what materials are the safest to use. This can be done, but this isn't something that we're hoping to do on behalf of America in every community, right? We just want to get the template out there so that people can do it, so that this effort can spread, and that we hopefully won't have a PPE shortage in the future.
Well, so quick question. Are these going to be scattered across like all Boston hospitals exclusively? What if someone in Connecticut's like, yo, we need 500 masks down there? Do you guys have the means, the resources, and the distribution to get some masks down there and for the rest of the country?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I think the whole idea is it would be tough for us, right, to make a bunch of masks up here and deliver them down there, especially with the travel restrictions, although we wouldn't be restricted with travel.
Hit up some of your Trinity friends, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking. Like the whole idea is have local efforts fund local hospitals, have local efforts build these masks for local hospitals, right? All communities across America have the means to do this, right? And they have the need to do this as well. So it's an effort that it's really a simple template. The difficult thing is getting materials. And I mean, the coordinating of volunteers is pretty easy. At least recruiting is pretty easy. So I just think like efforts like this can be done nationwide, and they can save hundreds of thousands of lives, right?
Dude, you guys should get the Rosenblatt family crest on all the masks, like right in the front. The huge ego trip.
I love it. We got Calvin Klein on some of the masks.
Well, yeah. So how did you guys get in contact with them?
Oh, I have no idea about Calvin Klein. But I think one of the doctors at the hospital, I think, is married to the CEO of Joanne Fabrics. So that's how that connection was made. And then actually, you know what, Calvin Klein might have reached out to us, because I know Levi's reached out to us when they'd seen the article as well. And then there was, I'm not sure whatever happened with it, but there like all types of people were reaching out. We had a guy who owned the textile company. So literally a guy whose job was materials, was fabric, reach out to try to help. So, I mean, people, it's really bringing the community together. People are being very, very helpful. Yeah, I just got to say thank you to everybody who has contributed or helped at all.
And in trying to scale this, what do you guys need more of right now?
That's a good question.
Like
well,
if you could
to be honest,
if you could have one like retail plug, would that be huge for you? That just has like tons of cloth and garment.
Right. So we kind of have our retail plug, although I don't want to like put too much on them. I don't want to like make them our like just, you know, put all our weight on these guys. But Joanne Fabrics, they've been very helpful in the Boston area, at least. I know. So the thing is about like efforts like this is like, if you put out the call for action and say like, oh, we need these materials to help save lives, there's not going to be a lot of people that ignore that, right? If they have the means to give these materials, contribute these materials, they're pretty forthcoming with them. That's what we found, at least. So although that's the hardest part, acquiring the materials, I think that people will help you with that.
Slugs, any final questions? Because Drew's got to run soon.
No, I think that's it.
All right, thanks for having me, guys. I'm Andy Rosenblatt from Massachusetts, and that was my golden hour.